This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens, capture.
Well, MCU fans, Marvel fans, Defenders fans, welcome everybody to our show, obviously, on For My ATL Movies 1. It's your host, T-Will, and my guy, Jordan Burton. And tonight we are talking The Defenders Season 1. Jordan, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Hey, man, I can't complain. Super excited to get into this thing, man. Just excited to talk about this. I know I love this show. I know you really love this show. So, hey, man, just super excited to talk about it. And, hey, with that being said, man, let's get to it. So, we are talking The Defenders that originated on Netflix. It originally aired July 31st, 2017. Globally, August 18th, 2017. It's an 8-episode format. It was directed, the showrunner was Marco Ramirez. The co-showrunner was Douglas Petrie. Jeff Loeb was the executive producer. And of course, you did have multiple directors, like the typical Netflix structure, but Ramirez was the main creative voice. That's Marco Ramirez. So again, with the cast as Daredevil, you got Charlie Cox as Jessica Jones. You got Christian Ritter. Luke Cage, you got Mike Coulter. Iron Fist, you got Finn Jones. Right away, one of the things that I noticed about this is the writing for Iron Fist, Jordan, is a lot better. The script for Iron Fist is a lot better. Give me your thoughts on that. You don't have to get granular or in too much detail, but just an overview of the script from a perspective of Iron Fist. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of our complaints about season 1 of Iron Fist. I mean, compared to the other Netflix shows, the writing for Iron Fist is just so bad. And you get into this, and he's not complaining as much. He's got I will say some of it lingers. There is a little bit of complaining, this like superiority complex almost with him. And all of these characters, I mean, Matt and Jessica and Luke, they're not the wealthiest people in the world. Even Matt's a lawyer, and he's not in a great state financially. And I mean, you could combine all three of their net worths, and they're not going to be worth like a quarter of what Iron Fist's net worth is. But he still just finds a way to be like, try to be the center of attention and stuff like that. And there is a little bit of that lingering, and that's where some people are like, oh, maybe it is Finn Jones. But I think overall it gets better even after this. But it is so much better. There's just we get more of a hero and more of a, like, he clearly wants to be a part of this team. And honestly, he's the one person out of all four of these people that wants this to work and wants all four of them to be together. And that's probably the highlight of his character in this, is that he wants to make this work. Luke wants to go just live his own life. Jessica just wants to go drink, and Matt just doesn't want to get involved in anything whatsoever. And you got Iron Fist over here that's like, no, do you see what we got here? Do you see, like, what are the odds that all of us are together and stuff? And we're like, we're almost giddy because we're like, even this guy, like, we don't even like this guy, but he's right.
He gets it.
But yeah, there is a level of writing that just, it's so much better than season one. So much better than season one of Iron Fist.
Yeah, they're all a little reluctant when they first meet. You know what I mean? And it's funny because when Iron Fist starts talking about Kunlun and the Iron Fist and punching the dragon, Luke is like, I this is hard to believe. You know what I mean? And the funny thing about that is, this is after the Avengers came to New York. Anything is possible, Luke. Like, I can't, and I get that he's grounded. But, bro, you had aliens attack New York. You live in New York. It's not like you live somewhere on the other side of the earth. So I thought that was interesting.
And to that point, like, this goes into even modern day MCU. Like, this takes place in what year does the Defenders take place in? Let me go to our handy dandy spreadsheet. So the Defenders takes place in early 2016. So even in Daredevil Born Again season 2 just came out earlier this week. Even in this season, it's not just Daredevil Born Again season 2, but there's other shows and other movies that are also like this, where there's, like, the public feels that same way. I mean, we are currently in the year 2027 or 2028 in terms of, like, modern day MCU. And there's still the public saying, like, oh, I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in, and I'm like, did you just not, where were you under a rock? Like, there's I feel like Hawkeye in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where he's like, the city is flying. The city is flying. Like,
that's how I feel. I have a bow and arrow.
None of this makes sense. That's exactly how I feel when I hear characters in, like, Luke and Jessica say, oh, I don't believe it. Do you even know who you are? Luke, you're bulletproof, bro.
Right.
Jessica, you can lift a car.
Right.
Like,
right.
Matt is blind and has better fighting skills than all three of you combined. None of this makes sense.
Let's talk about that for a sec. Should he be better than Iron Fist?
He shouldn't be. No. And that's part of the writing. That's part of the bad writing of Iron Fist season 1. The Iron Fist is known to be one of the most skilled and prestigious fighters in Marvel Comics, and he should be a better fighter than Daredevil. But I think this came down to the popularity of the characters, in that because Iron Fist had bad writing, and because Daredevil is one of the greatest Marvel shows ever. It is arguably the greatest Marvel show ever.
I would agree with that. I would agree.
And because of the popularity, it drove the characters into different directions, to where it's like, okay, let's make Daredevil a better fighter than Iron Fist, but still make Iron Fist feel special. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, from a comic book perspective, I'm just like, this is okay. But from a storytelling standpoint, I mean, you look at all 4 of these characters, and it is, I love the way they all blend in with one another. And I'm honestly I'm kind of glad that the Punisher is not involved in this, because I think we already kind of have a similar element to that with Jessica Jones, in terms of that dark element. Like, that's what Jessica brings, a grounded, dark element. It's exactly what the Punisher, what Frank Castle brings. But each of them has their own different personality, different part of New York, and they, because of that, they do blend. Their opposites attract, and they work well together because of that. And that's one thing and why the Avengers worked so well. You had Thor, a god. You had Captain America, a humble kid that like ended up being super powered from some serum in a bottle. You had Tony Stark, billionaire playboy philanthropist. Hawkeye and Black Widow, both with quiet assassins. Hulk, a raging monster. Like they all blended in with one another, just like because of their opposites, and that's why all of these characters work so well.
Yeah. No, I like the way they did it. The first episode, the H word, is basically heroes, and none of them really want to consider themselves heroes. Maybe Danny to a certain extent, but I wouldn't even say that he wants to be a hero. He just wants to do his job and protect Kunlun, New York, wherever. But the rest of them don't consider themselves heroes. Daredevil has kind of stepped away from vigilantism. Jessica Jones is back to taking cases. Luke Cage returns to Harlem. And Iron Fist is really the only one hunting the Hand. Their paths begin to converge through investigations tied to a mysterious organization. The Hand's movements hint at something much larger brewing beneath New York City, setting the stage of the eventual team up. And speaking of the Hands, let's talk about our villains or antagonists, led by Sigourney Weaver as Alexandria Reed. And now we're talking about the Five Fingers of the Hand. Elektra Natchios, who is the Black Sky. Elodie Young. Scott Glenn is Stick, although I wouldn't call him a villain. He's a hero in this one. Let's see. I don't have, let me see. The other characters, Madame Gao, Bakudo, Murakami, and who's the last guy? Sawande. Those are the Five Fingers of the Hand. And I think they were great. I like the fact that Sigourney Weaver was a very complex character. She's very committed to the Black Sky, which kind of leads to her undoing, which we'll get into later. But I really thought that she was a very complex character, and I liked what she was trying to do because, you know, even the first time she meets Iron Fist, she could have been way more aggressive, but she's not. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She could have been way more aggressive, but she lets him get in there and talk and get on his high horse and I'm going to bring you down. And then she's like, okay, that's fine. You're entitled to feel how you feel, Danny. These folk aren't going to let you up out of here, but hey, it's all good. And it's just the way she plays it. It's funny, but let's talk about some key meetings in the first time these folks meet. So first time Luke Cage and Iron Fist meet, that was funny. Because Luke is tossing Danny around like a rag doll, and Danny's hitting him with his best combos and punches, and nothing is happening. Nothing. I mean, nothing. And matter of fact, Luke throws him outside because they're inside when they initially meet, or inside some alleyway or whatever. He throws him outside, and Luke says, "Remember, you brought this on yourself, right?" Kind of like, hey, man, you're about to get something that you asked for. And all of a sudden, Danny summons his chi and hits him with the Iron Fist and knocks Luke about 30 feet away. And we're like, wow, right? Give me your thoughts on the first fight and the first interaction. Like just give me your thoughts on that.
I love that these two are the when these two meet, so in the comics, Luke and Iron Fist are heroes for hire is what their duo is. And I love that. And they make that abundantly clear in season 2 of Luke Cage. That just they work so well together. I don't know what it is. Like I like Luke just fits well with either Jessica Jones or Iron Fist. And in that I guess it's their opposite personas that why they work well together. Like Jessica's just like a lone body who just wants to be alone and hates everyone and drinks a lot. And then Iron Fist is like, oh, let's have fun. And I have $1 billion. Let's go do stuff. And by the way, I got an Iron Fist. And Luke is just this calm-mannered, well-mannered dude who's just like, I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how lonely you are. If you need a hug, you need a hug. And that's what I get from Luke all the time. That's why he's such a great character. And I want to see him more going forward. But that it is so cool because up to this point, Luke no person has been able to stop Luke, right? It's always been like missiles and stuff like that and like shotguns. And then Iron Fist just goes and is like, all right, you like Luke's like, you called upon this yourself. And like Iron Fist is like, oh, all right, bet, buddy. And he gets his Iron Fist and just throws a haymaker looking like Mike Tyson in his prime.
You can see the impact of that hitting Luke's jaw. The way they did that was great. One thing I'll say about this, the fight scenes in this series were fantastic. Fantastic. But, bro, when he hit them with that, it's like, whoa. You know what I mean? And then you see Luke fly, and you're not used to seeing Luke fly like that. And Luke gets, and then all of a sudden the cops arrive on the scene, and you know, of course, he gets away, and Danny gets away or whatever. And the kid that Luke was going after ends up getting locked up. But we'll get into that. But so Luke comes home and obviously sees Claire, his then girlfriend. And before that, what a love scene. That's all awesome. What a scene. That's woo, what a scene. That's all out. They made up for all time. Everything that they didn't do in Luke Cage season 1, they made up for in that scene. Wow. I mean, that was a furniture moving session. But anyway, so Luke says to her, yeah, it was some guy, blonde guy with like an iron fist, and it was yellow. And Claire's like, hold on one second. And then she places a phone call, and the next thing you see Luke and Danny, and they're talking, and she's like, you guys work it out. And it's kind of funny because they're feeling each other out, and Luke calls him out on privilege. And it's funny because Danny would know nothing about that because Danny was raised by monks, right? But Luke doesn't know this. So Luke kind of unfairly judges him. Now, mind you, because he was raised by monks, he doesn't understand the context of what Luke is trying to say. Okay? He doesn't understand that. But they initially have this falling out or whatever. And Jessica and Daredevil meet each other. And you know, Jessica really doesn't like anybody. And I think Matt is her attorney, right? Isn't that initially how they first meet? He shows up as her attorney. Yeah. And Jessica's just, you know, in the first couple of episodes, she's kind of a jerk. But what I will say about this is, in this entire season, Jessica, to me, has a higher character arc because she really does. You see her do and say some nice things. You see her really begin to consider people more and kind of come out of her shell. Like when Matt is talking to a young kid and he's trying to convince him of something. And Jessica brings up the story of her blind friend that ended up, you know, making his life so much better and being a really great guy. I thought that was really nice coming from Jessica. Like, I'm not going to lie. When she said that, I was like, oh, what? Jessica said something? Are you serious? And I found myself liking her more in this season because I did not like her in Jessica Jones season 2. I didn't dislike her in season 1. She was kind of a jerk, but okay. But in season 2, I really didn't like her. But I felt like we get a more, I don't want to say humble, but a more forgiving Jessica Jones, a more caring Jessica Jones. And I really I like that. She had some quotes in here that were kind of funny. She was kind of low key one of my favorite parts in that I think it's in a later episode when they're trying to decide if they're going to blow up this bomb in this building. And she's like, I haven't showered in 3 days. I'm sick of these dudes. My office is a mess. Can we just move on? And it was so heartfelt, right? It was so heartfelt. It was great. So I really liked her. And of course, Daredevil, coming from where he's come from, he doesn't want to endanger Foggy or Karen or anybody. And this is where he's kind of arrogant, because he's kind of like, you guys don't know you're endangering your loved ones. Like, they're not heroes. Like, they're new to this. Like, they don't have lives. Like, they don't have people they're connected to. Like, they haven't had adventures of their own. But the 4 of them, it's interesting. And I like the fact that they didn't just show up in episode 1 and were like, hey guys, we're super friends. Let's go kick ass and go on this meeting and let's just be best friends all of a sudden. The way they evolve, it's kind of organic. It really is organic, right? And I guess one of my favorite things is when they all show up at this financial building. I can't think of the name of it, but they all show up there. This is where Danny walks in and he's like, you guys are the hand, and I know who you are, and I'm going to take you down. And there's a boardroom of about 40 people, which is a big boardroom, by the way. Okay. But all of a sudden, and Alexandria is there, and she's, I'd say, very charismatic, low key person, but she calmly says, it's your prerogative. You're not going to get out of this room. And it doesn't come across as mustache twirly. Like, she's a calm, cool, collective villain. And not that I like her. I don't dislike her, but I think that's the point. I don't dislike her, right? Because you would think hand, evil plot, take over the world, crash New York. I'd hate her. But ultimately, the goal of the hand is eternal life, which is still kind of shitty to destroy millions of lives doing it, but she just doesn't come across that way. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, Luke shows up, and Luke and Iron Fist start fighting, and right away, Jordan, there's this natural chemistry that they have when fighting. Because they're back to back and they're fighting, and all of a sudden these folks pull out the gun, and Luke Cage stands in front of Iron Fist, takes all the shots, and it was great to see that. These guys just have a natural chemistry together when it comes to that. And then, of course, Jessica Jones and Daredevil show up, and Luke Cage says, Jessica. And she says, Luke. And he's like, who's this? And da-da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, all 4 of them start fighting everybody. And then Elektra shows up and they fight her and they escape. But anyway, I've been talking way too much. Give me your thoughts on the first episode and really this first encounter between Iron Fist and Danny, Jessica and Daredevil, and the fight that they have at the financial building.
Well, I will say I like how the problem of this show is brought about, because Sigourney Weaver, I mean, it's Sigourney. Let's just put it all on the table. Sigourney Weaver is the clear best actor or actress on this show by a mile. This is not just from this show. This is from, think about anything she's ever been in ever. Yep. She's just her history, her resume is just far beyond any of our 4 main characters, actors combined. Yep. So when we're introduced to her and we find out she has cancer, we then realize, like, even though she's part of the hand, we're like, okay, we now understand that things need to get sped up. Like whatever the hands deal is, they need to figure this out soon because she's gonna die, and they don't know how much time they have. I also find it interesting that the whole plot of this season, in terms of from the villain perspective, goes about the same way as with Mahershala Ali in Luke Cage, but where you die at the hands of like someone you're like
Close
viewing
to.
as viewing close to you. But the difference is we have a pre-existing relationship with Elektra, and we understand who Elektra is and who she's been. And we don't, and this is where I never cared for this version of Elektra all that much, but I was able to understand. Honestly, if you change the name Elektra to something else, I would have been like, yeah, this is a good character. But I just don't think this is Elektra inherently from like the comics and stuff like that. Even from Daredevil season 2, I just never felt that way. So when we get into this and Elektra ends up, before Elektra kills her, we'll get into the
Also, not to cut you off, but
Yeah.
explain the difference.
difference in what?
The comics
Elektra?
in this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Elektra in the comics, very similar. It's sort of an in-between of like, I forget what the actress's name is that played Elektra in the Elektra movie. I don't know why.
Jennifer
Jennifer Gardner. Yes, it's sort of a combination of Jennifer Gardner's Elektra and this Elektra. Like there's an in-between where it's like she's an assassin, but like she still has a heart. And it felt like with Elektra, from Jennifer Gardner's perspective, there was a little bit too much heart being given, and this Elektra, there was like no heart whatsoever given.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've never gotten like a true proper adaptation of Elektra. Now I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has a version of Elektra. I'm gonna be honest, I've watched 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know it's got a lot of seasons. We are not watching that. Because technically it has no connection whatsoever to anything we are doing at all. Even though there's some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. people out there that are like, yeah, it's connected. No, it's not. Kevin Feige said that. Kevin Feige is very strong in saying that it ain't connected. He's like, you can sit down now.
He doesn't like that show.
He doesn't. I don't. It was done by ABC, so that's why I'm very reluctant. The only episodes I did watch were the first episode when it first premiered, and I was just like, yeah, I don't really like this. And because Agent Coulson died in the Avengers. That was the whole point of the Avengers. Let me go on a rant real quick of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because it's the only time I'm ever going to do this. How are you going to kill off Agent Coulson, who's the reason the Avengers existed, and then bring him back for a show? And say that, like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. We brought him back. Come again? What? You did what now? And the it's just the dumbest decision you could have made. Like the whole reason the entire Infinity Saga exists stems from the fact that Agent Coulson died and brought the Avengers together, which inherently makes Thanos lose in Endgame. Without him dying, Endgame doesn't happen. So if you resurrect him, what does that do? And the entire time, the directors and writers are like following the same timeline as like Age of Ultron and like S.H.I.E.L.D. turning to Hydra. So at one point, the show was called Agents of Hydra. And they were following the snap and stuff like that. And I'm just like, bro, at this point, you're just a bunch of like YouTubers that are putting together fan films at this point.
Wow.
But I will say this. I did watch one other episode because I am a huge Ghost Rider fan. So I had to watch an episode of, when Ghost Rider shows up. Don't care for that interpretation of Ghost Rider whatsoever. I think visually, just the CGI sucks on him. I think the movie with Nicolas Cage, both movies with Nicolas Cage, had visually a better looking Ghost Rider than the Ghost Rider we got in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And yeah, I didn't care for that adaptation whatsoever. So, and it was disappointing. Now, again, like I said, I know Elektra is in that show. I don't know that interpretation of the character. I don't know if she might just be there for 5 seconds. I wouldn't know. Wouldn't know because I didn't watch it. But like I said, we haven't gotten a great adaptation of Elektra. But getting back to this first episode, I mean, getting to their just fight in general, where they're all together. It was so fun, and it reminded me of the Forest fight with Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, and seeing that trio together for the first time, and seeing these four, especially after watching these shows, these seasons, these episodes, seeing these characters individually. Obviously, Luke and Jessica were the only ones who have pre-existing relationship, but it was so cool to finally see them all unite together. Also, two things. One, you have basically a hallway fight scene, which is iconic with these shows. Just having hallway fight scenes and just having them all in this hallway style fight scene is so cool. And two, ending that episode where I think, I don't know if it was Danny or Jessica that said, "Who the hell are you guys?" or something like that. And they're all just like in the elevator, just like not saying a word, and that's how the episode closes. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, that's such a cool way to end the episode.
No, that was, man. That was. And of course, episode 4, they show up to the Royal Dragon restaurant. Forced into an uneasy alliance, they regroup at the restaurant, leading up to the most important dialogue heavy scene of the series, where they just hash it out. They kind of find out who each other is, and I gotta admit, it was very funny at times, right? Because again, they go into this restaurant and they're like, "Hey, we really need your help," and and the guy's like, "No, you have to leave," and I forget who it was, but Jessica's like, "I'm not gonna repeat myself." She starts closing the blinds, and I'm like, "Who the hell does she think she is?" Right? And all of a sudden, Danny Rand comes in and starts speaking Chinese to the guy, and Matt says, "He speaks Chinese? What?" Mm-hmm. And then so Luke and Jessica start talking to each other, and Jessica's like, "Who's he?" And he's got a mean right hook and this magic iron fist or whatever. And then she gives him a comp. She's low key flirting with him. She says, "So do you?" And he's like, "Oh, okay. How you been?" And it's like, you can see it throw him off a little bit, right? Because he's just in the Luke Cage mode, and she's like, "Oh, so do you?" And I don't know. It's kind of weird because I'm like, but Claire's at home. What are we doing? And so he starts to talk about Danny, and then she tells him, "Well, he's a blind lawyer, sort of, but he can do all of this other stuff." And I think she says he's a blind lawyer, and Luke goes, "Blind," right? And then because they see him fight or whatever, but they're talking about the characters. And then, of course, Daredevil, in his arrogance, is like, "Hey, this is a one-time thing, guys, but I got to get away. I'm not going to give you my name or whatever because I've dealt with this group before," and and he's being presumptuous and assuming that nobody has dealt with the Hand. And I guess it's because of all the folks who's not accustomed to working with anybody, Matt is highest on this list here. I mean, none of them have really worked with each other as far as their vigilante exploits. But Matt is just used to being on his own, an orphan, and you see that come out because he's like, "Look, man, I no disrespect to you guys. I want to get home. I got loved ones. You guys need to be smart. I've been through this, And when Danny starts talking about the Hand, Matt's like, "Yeah, that's true. But I gotta go." And And they're like, "No, wait a minute, man. We need to have a discussion." And what breaks the tension is when he starts to bring in food out, and I think Danny asked, "Is that pork?" And Matt's like, "No, that's steak." And then somebody else, and he's like, "That's pork." And then Danny, being the kid of the bunch, because he's still a kid mentally. Okay, he's like the first to be like, "Oh, I want to go eat." And so they're all sitting at the dinner table and talking about, who they are and their exploits. And I'll let you take it from there, sir.
This is one of my highest rated episodes, and like some people view it as just a filler episode, but I think this is so necessary in terms of getting us to relate to these characters and see them interact with one another, and that they're not just fighting because they all have superpowers, but because they all have a common interest, a common goal, and they can relate to one another. That's what the Defenders creates its chemistry because of this episode. If you don't have this episode, the rest of the season does not flow as smoothly. And you needed to have this episode where Matt is reluctant to talk with these people. Like, Matt just does not want anything to do with these people. He wants everybody to go home, and he'll figure this out and stuff like that. And finally Jessica Jones is like, it's your call, counselor, or something like that. And Matt's like, all right, well, fine, I guess. And then he takes off her scarf and says, "My name is Matthew." And then Jessica at one point leaves, but then she's also reluctant. Luke in general just doesn't, as soon as he hears anything about the hand and stuff, he's just like, whoa. I'm just trying to save this one kid. All right.
Right.
I'm just trying to do that. All right. I didn't know we were going to get into ninjas.
Right.
Harry obviously knows a ninja for some reason. That's an actual thing. And I also know Santa Claus.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that's unnecessary roughness. Oh my goodness.
But I love this episode so much because of the little things. I love when a movie or show just in general has little things to say. And this episode just, you have Stick walk in, just shows up out of nowhere. And like, people are like, who the heck is this guy? And Stick has all this knowledge about the Iron Fist that we didn't know about. Stick feels like the type of guy who just has randomly, he's like, yeah, I know who the Iron Fist is. Yeah, we know. Yeah, all right. He's supposed to kill the Hand and stuff like that. And Daredevil's, and Matt's like, why didn't she tell me this? But I love it. It reminds me of like the scene in Age of Ultron where everybody's in the tower just hanging out, and this is what it feels like. And I talk about that scene so much. I loved when we were talking about that scene. I love that scene because it got all of these characters in a place that they were comfortable with. Now, everybody right now is on edge, like, for obvious reasons, because they're on the run from these people. But they realize they're sort of safe for now, and they can be comfortable with one another and get to know each other. And that's what I love about this episode so much.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting because, again, in these first 4 episodes, it has one of my favorite quotes. Well, I think I already said one, but the other one is when he takes Jessica's scarf and she tells Matt, "You look like an asshole." He's like, "Well, it's your scarf." You know what I mean? Like,
another thing, when Matt says, we need to turn off the signs. I can smell the neon or something like that. And Luke's like, how can you smell neon?
Right.
Like, Matt is so funny at times when like, everybody knows he's blind, but then he just does something that's like, yeah, I could smell the like cologne from like down the block or something
from
like
a
that.
mile away. Right.
That's like, Matt is not inherently funny, but when he is funny, he's funny. One of the funniest characters of the entire show.
Well, that's how I feel about Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is not funny, but her responses to things are freaking hilarious. right? And a lot of times her responses break tensions. Again,
Yeah.
I go back to that scene where they're deciding if they want to blow up that building, and she's like, "Come on, man! I hadn't showered in 3 days," and she has it. She has it. You know what I mean? She's like, "My office is still bloody. Can you imagine the smell right now?" And it's like, and it's like, damn, she's right. But the truth is funny. That's one thing comedians always say is that a joke rooted in truth will always be funny because people can relate to it, right? But yeah, Jessica has some great lines, some funny and some insightful, but yeah. So they officially become a team. The interesting thing about Stick is we get the sense in this scene that it's a payoff for everything that took place in season 1 and season 2 of Daredevil. Because everything that he is, foreshadowed to Matt is now coming to life. And when Matt says, "Why didn't you tell me about that?" my first thoughts were, because you wouldn't believe him. Because he's been telling you that a war is coming, and you were like, well, you didn't believe him, Matt. So why would he tell you? But Stick being Stick, we're gonna see that he does something in later episodes that kind of, Stick being Stick, right? So anyway, episode 5, the team retreats to a safe location as tensions rise internally and externally. Secrets come out, especially regarding Danny's connection to the Hand and his role as the Iron Fist. The group struggles with leadership and direction, with conflicting approaches on how to handle the threat. Meanwhile, the Hand tightens its grip and the sense of urgency increases as it becomes clear that time is running out. The team is again finally together in one place. And they really begin to become a real team in this episode, because in episode 4, Jessica kind of shows up at the end as the forces of the Hand have come in and they're fighting, and Jessica kind of shows up, and I think she hits Madame Gao or somebody with the car, and it ends the fight. But it's kind of like, oh man, you saved us, and she does. And they become they become a team, but they really become a team, in my opinion, in episode 5, as everything comes out. Now, as the season goes on, little things begin to wear at that. Like, Matt does not initially tell them that he knows Elektra, and he definitely doesn't tell them that she's his ex-girlfriend. And the reason, well, he just doesn't tell him. So give me your thoughts about that, Jordan.
I mean, I don't think I think he did it for the right reason, where if he knew what the outcome would be if he told them, like, yeah, I know that's my ex-girlfriend, because they would have had hesitation with him. He already has hesitation with them because he doesn't really know them. So, but he wants everyone to feel calm and comfortable with him. And by him showing like vulnerability, he doesn't want to show vulnerability. And by him showing that, like, yeah, that's my ex-girlfriend, they're going to be skeptical about him. Like, are you willing to make the sacrifice play? Are you willing to do what you have to do in order to, like, stop all this from happening? And I don't think Matt wanted to confront that idea either. So that was a whole moral dilemma going on with this. And I also find I do like Elektra more in this than I did in Daredevil season 2, because she's trying to find herself. Like, and she's still there, but the way she goes into Matt's apartment to try and remember things and just lays in his bed, like, I thought maybe there would be a turning point, but there really wasn't. So when I say I liked Elektra more in this season, I still didn't really care for her all that much. It just felt like there was it felt like we were like headed in the right direction, but then just didn't, and we went back to square one. I always had just a problem with this Elektra. It just felt like this was not a character from the comics, that version of Elektra. So, like her, I mean, and we'll get to the final battle and the final scene because it does set up season 3 of Daredevil really well. But I mean, I do love the way this ends, and I love the way their story comes full circle between Matt and Elektra.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, you know, the team is pissed when they find out that, and for a second they kind of don't trust him, right? But they recognize that they all have to work together to get out of this. And one of my favorite moments is when Jessica Jones calls out Danny and Matt for, you know, obviously calling out Matt for his secrecy, but Danny for just his whole nonsense and the whole situation. And again, it's another one of those moments where Jessica, in this group, she is the person who says something when it needs to be said, right? Like, we're all thinking it, but I'm just gonna say it. That's Jessica. So I did like that. I did enjoy that. But let's get to episode 6. So the defenders begin working more cohesively, taking action against the Hand's operations. Emotional stakes rise as personal losses and sacrifices begin to hit harder. The Hand's leaders reveal more of their plan involving a substance tied to resurrection and power. And again, the whole story is the 5 fingers of the Hand were once in Kunlun. There's this substance that the people of Kunlun wanted to use for good, and the 5 fingers of the Hand wanted for themselves for eternal life so that they could live forever. And there's something in this structure, in this building, that if they can access it, they can not only get back to Kunlun, but they will have eternal life. And the thing about it is they used up their resources, or what was remaining of the substance that they had, to resurrect the Black Sky. And this is a point of conflict between Alexandria and the other 4 members of the Hand, because as Alexandria engages the defenders, as the Black Sky, or Elektra, engages the defenders, she fails. I'm not going to say she fails, but she recognizes Matt, and there's enough of him in there, that she's hesitant to kill him, right? She's hesitant to kill him. And so, you know, the other 4 members are looking at it like, wait a minute, you should have killed him here. Like, what are we doing? We used up all of our resources on you, and you didn't kill him? You know what I mean? So there's this conflict going on between Alexandria and them. And while all of this is going on, I guess the message is delivered to the defenders that Danny is the key to getting what the Hand wants. And they decide, okay, we're just going to hold you here. And of course, Danny being Danny, he's like, you're not going to hold me anywhere. I'm going to whatever. And so I forget who knocks him out. Somebody knocked him. I don't know if it was Luke or Jessica, or I'm thinking it had to be one of them. But he wakes up and he's tied up. And Danny's like, you know, when I use my fist to get out of here, you know, and Luke is like, okay, well, you know, I get it, but you understand what we're trying to do. We're not trying to hurt you, but if you fall in their hands, the fight's over. And it's in this moment that another one of my favorite quotes is made, and it's when Luke and Danny are sitting down and they're talking chair to chair, and Luke says to Danny, hey, why don't you tell me again about how you punched the dragon and got your magic hand? And Danny's like, during the final trial of Shao Lung, the Undying, I plunged my hand into his molten heart. And Luke says, dude, I'm kidding. Like, what are you? And it's kind of mean because Danny was so into it. Again, Danny on some levels is like a child. So Danny's like, "Oh, we're bonding. Well, let me tell you about it." And Luke's like, "Dude, I'm kidding. Come on." Danny doesn't get the sarcasm in it, right? That was one of my favorites. And again, Stick being Stick, Stick is working on this concoction. And at first Luke kind of stays to himself, but as curiosity gets the best of him, he comes over and tries to talk to Stick. And Stick is basically telling him some stuff about Kunlun and the Iron Fist. And basically what he's working on is this potion that would knock out Luke. But what I didn't understand is why didn't it knock him out too? I mean, it's basically atmospherically based, so you breathe it in. Like, was Stick immune to it? Like, I didn't get why it impacted Luke, but not him. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Why didn't it knock him out?
I mean, I thought about that, but I don't know. Maybe it was specifically for someone like Luke. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Can't really answer that.
That was just weird to me. But
maybe you need a certain amount ingested, and he kind of like threw it at him and forced that to like be ingested, like the majority of it. I don't know.
But he sat over there cooking it up for like 20 minutes. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. But okay, whatever. We'll go with that. Let's go with that. So of course Luke gets knocked out, and Stick being Stick is always going to take the shortest path there. So if there is someone on his team that is a threat, if captured by the other team or the enemy, you know what Stick's going to do, right? Stick's just going to eliminate that person. That way, guess what? And he says to him, "Hey, kid, sorry, this ain't personal." And he's getting ready to kill him. And who shows up, Jordan, but Elektra? And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, Elektra comes in, and I've never been a huge fan of Stick, and in this moment, I actually was like, I was rooting for Elektra. And not in a way that like Stick was hindering, I think, the defenders from being their true selves. Like, I think him dying is the same way as I'm glad I mentioned Agent Coulson earlier. Like the Avengers become the Avengers because Agent Coulson dies. I think the defenders become the defenders when Stick dies. Not necessarily in the same way where it's like they're fighting for him to honor him and stuff like that. They're fighting because he ended up dividing them in order to bring them together. And he ended up being that glue, that temporary glue to help them stick together. So him dying was necessary. Elektra ends up killing him, and honestly, I don't think I would have asked for anyone else to kill him. I think it made sense for Elektra to end up killing him. And I think by Elektra killing him, it told us that she's gone. Elektra is no more. Like, no matter what happens going forward, Elektra is just never going to be the same person. I mean, because that was basically like a father figure to her that she never had. So, so I didn't think Matt was ever going to be able to convince her, like, to switch her ever.
Well, and it's interesting. Let's talk about Elektra for a second, because she does something. It may have been in episode 6. It may have been in episode 7. I think it was in episode 6. But she kills Alexandria, and I didn't understand that, right? Because I don't think she's interested in eternal life. I think she did it. Now, again, she may have done it because prior to that, Alexandria did not give her a direct command to kill Daredevil and the others. But in this episode, specifically right before she kills her, she says, what'd she say? Kill the blind lawyer, kill whatever. And when Elektra kills her, she's like, his name is Matt or something like that. So it could have been solely just because she asked her to kill Matt Murdock. I'm not sure. But she takes over the hand. And while it was definitely a plot twist and a shocker, I didn't see that coming. To me, I don't understand why she continued with it. Like, okay, you killed Elektra. You could have just disbanded the hand at that moment. Or you could have just told them, hey, you guys do what you want to do. Because I don't think she was that vested in them, right? She was vested in Alexandria up until she told her to kill Matt, and then she killed Alexandria. Just give me your thoughts on that, because I didn't get that. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and you're right, because I don't know if there's one thing about this show that I am that kind of it does bring it down a little for me is what is Elektra's purpose,
right?
Like I mean, I know why she kills Alexandria, because she wants. I think maybe Elektra wanted to have that life that her and Matt talked about at the end of season 2, where they would just run away together and run away from everything. And Matt, I think, moved on, and Elektra wanted to just have that again, but she wanted to take control and take more control before having all that. She wanted power. She was power hungry, and I don't think her reasoning behind anything was necessarily the biggest. I think it felt a little stale, her character arc in this. So that was the one negative I had on this show, is that like it got to a certain point where I'm like, what is Elektra's goal?
Yeah, to me it felt like a plot device.
Yeah,
it felt like for the last showdown, you needed Alexandria to be out of the way so you could focus on the fight between Matt and Elektra. I don't know, but it just, if you were going to kill her off, I see Elektra telling them, hey, you guys do what you want to do. I'm out. That's exactly what I see her. And I see her trying to go and get Matt or go off. I don't see her taking over the organization, because she, and if I'm wrong, you tell me, but I never get from her that it's important for her to have eternal life. As a matter of fact, in the final scene, in the final episode, she says to him, well, we'll die together and you'll be back at my side where you should be. So that lets you know she never was interested in eternal life. So if you're not, and I get the point of power, I don't know. That one.
Well, I will say with Elektra, she's always had this like this version. And a reason I didn't like this version of Elektra, she just wanted to kill, and was just constantly hungry for like killing, and I'm like, all right, and you know, there's probably gonna be some people that are like, oh, but you like the Punisher. Yeah, the Punisher has a code and will kill bad people. Elektra will kill anyone.
Yeah,
there's a huge difference with that.
Yeah.
So I just never liked this version of Elektra, and she's always been hungry for killing, and I think maybe that hunger just kept going. And if anyone's seen, I know you haven't watched Supernatural, but if anyone has seen the later seasons of Supernatural, there's a certain character that gets hungry for killing, and it ends up tearing his like bond with people apart, because he keeps killing and killing and killing, and it only fuels him more and more and more. And that's what I get with Elektra, in that she just wants to continue to kill, especially since she became the Black Sky. It's like she lost her soul because of that.
Yeah. Well, and so that was the other thing, and thank you for bringing that up, that was the other thing that was kind of a little inconsistent in that you get the feeling from Gal, from Alexandria, from Sawadi, from Murakami, from the other that I can't remember, that they've all been dead a couple of times, but none of them came back as crazy as what was dude's name in Iron Fist?
Oh yeah, can't remember. Forget what his name is.
None of them came back as temperamental or as crazy as he was, right?
Yeah.
What's his name? See if I can look up his name. His name was
the dad.
Meacham.
Meacham,
Yeah, Meacham, Mr. Meacham, whatever. But none of them were as crazy or as detached as he was. They seemed to all be in control of their motor skills, their functions, their reasoning. They were logical. They were not murderous unnecessarily. So that they didn't just kill just to kill, right? So that was kind of one of the things that didn't make sense, because the main storyline, or one of the main plot lines in Iron Fist, was that, well, as you come back, you leave a piece of your soul. Now, you could argue that maybe that's what's going on with Elektra, right? And maybe it's a situation to where if you live long enough, maybe you're more logical. Maybe you have more control over your impulses the further away you get from death and the resurrection, right? But that's the only thing that matters. And it may be exactly what you said. It could, because Meacham, when he came back, was just killing people just to do it. Dude pissed him off, like his assistant. He literally bludgeoned him to death. And I felt like in that moment, Elektra was like, you know what? I'm not going to reason with you. I'm just going to kill you. You know what I mean? So maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Okay. Anyway, let's get to episode 8, man. And I'm going to let you talk us through it. What you got?
Oh my gosh. I love this episode. Also, Colleen has a huge part in this as well. I think she inherently becomes a part of the Defenders. She becomes like what Hawkeye was in the first Avengers movie, where like you have a character who's off on the side and that comes in to the final battle and becomes an important character in the final battle. And I consider Colleen a part of the Defenders, maybe not the core group. Like when you think about the Avengers, you think about Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. And then later down the road, we get Wanda and Vision and stuff like that. I look at Colleen like I look at Wanda and Vision when it comes to the Avengers. And I consider her a part of the Defenders, but maybe the next group of the Defenders. I mean, the plan is for the Defenders to go into the building, set off some explosives, go fight. And at this point, Elektra had captured Danny and used his fist to open up the door. And as Elektra doesn't need Danny anymore, so Daredevil, Luke, and Jessica all go down to try and save Danny and stop everything from happening. And that they're successful, but they realize they have to then they realize they have to stop this all right now. And while Luke is very hesitant on this, he doesn't want to do that. He's like, I don't want to blow up a building. This is illegal. Like, I will get in trouble. Jessica's like, I mean, like you said, she's like, I just want to go home. I've been wearing the same clothes for the last 3 days. There's blood in my apartment still. Like, she just doesn't care anymore. And
let's talk about this for a second, because even though they haven't been together very long, this is a key point in their existence. Because Matt is like, look, if you don't kill these guys, they're like roaches. They're going to come back.
Yep.
And Danny is in agreement with it. And Luke is like, guys, I can't sign on for this. I mean, innocent people could get killed. Are we really going to kill people? Are we really going to do it? And Claire says, Well, as crazy as this day is, I mean, I don't want to kill people, and Luke says thank you, but that may be the only way. I've dealt with the hand before. And what does she say about them? Because again, it's kind of one of my favorite quotes. She says, we all know that what the hand is capable of. When they do, it's not just crime, it's horror movie murdery shit or something like that. But she makes the point that, look, maybe they're right in this instance, right? And everybody's looking at Luke like, come on, we're waiting on you. Guilty. Let's go. We're waiting on you. We need the verdict, Luke. And Luke is like, okay, I can't believe I'm saying this, but no innocent people get hurt. Can we at least agree on that? And they're like, yeah, we agree. And go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was a very important conversation that they had there.
No, they do. It is the same conversation that is had between the Avengers when Vision is born. It's like they don't agree, but they know what they need to do. They may disagree with certain things, but that's what makes them such a great team, is that they can disagree on things. They all come from different walks of life, and they all realize what they have to do in the end, and that's just to help people. That's why they're heroes. Even though they don't want to call themselves that, the H word, they still do. Which is why I like the first title of the first episode being the H word. I think that's my favorite title of all the episodes. But like Colleen's out there fighting her old mentor, and even what's her name from Luke Cage, the police officer. I always forget her name.
Misty Knight.
Misty Knight even comes into this, and she's involved quite a bit. Like, she's reluctant to do anything. And Misty, again, is a type of character which, sort of like Luke, it's like, come on, we've had aliens in the sky. Like, you need to understand that things like this happen. And we are in a universe where things get weird. And if you start shooting at someone and they just don't move, then maybe there doesn't need to be a rhyme or reason, and they're just like that. So like Misty gets her arm cut off from a sword, which that ends up being a serious plot in a Luke Cage season 2.
What's interesting? She and Colleen become daughters of the dragon in the comics.
Yep.
So, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it becomes a crucial part in Luke Cage season 2, and they develop such a connection between the two of them in season 2. Like Luke Cage season 2 just feels like Heroes for Hire, and I like that. And a lot of people after Luke Cage season 2 were like, "Oh, we want a Heroes for Hire show where it's just Luke and Iron Fist." And I think they would have blended well together, being that they're from opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, that was the one thing that we were all annoyed with Danny with, is like, oh, he's got all this money and stuff like that, and he doesn't know life and stuff like that, and he is very privileged, but he's not too privileged, and he doesn't fully understand. And like Luke, he's humble and stuff like that, but he doesn't understand that like there are things beyond his comprehension. Like Iron Fist, like all the dragon stuff. And I think their opposite worlds could have really worked well together for a show together. And I think if they were to keep going with the Defenders, like Daredevil keeps doing Born Again, and Jessica Jones were to get a revival, I think maybe instead of having a Luke Cage show and an Iron Fist show, you can do a Heroes for Hire show. I think that would still work well together. I like when Colleen and Misty Knight are together. Their worlds just seem to blend very, very well together. And yeah, in this final fight, I mean, it's maybe the one critique I have with this final episode, it's not a huge critique because I love this episode and it is my favorite episode of the whole show. Is we get a rap. What song is playing during the final battle? It was so just felt out of character with the show. And like there was no lead up to that. I can't remember what the final song was, but it was just so weird. Song final battle.
I'm looking it up. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, it just felt like, look, because I think it you can draw that song from Luke Cage, and like because Luke Cage had a great soundtrack, but we didn't get enough of that throughout this show, this mini series for the Defenders to warrant that in the final battle. It just felt like it came out of left field. I honestly forget what this song is. I need to
let's see. Episode. I'm trying to find it. I don't know that. That seems to be a bit more complicated than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe we can follow up with that one on the next episode. But
yeah, no, it felt so just out of left field having like any sort of hip hop or rap song in the final battle, especially with like I'm watching Daredevil and I'm hearing hip hop, like 90s hip hop, and I'm
protect your neck.
Yeah, yes, it was Protect Your Neck. Yes. Okay. It just felt so out of left field to have this. There was no build. If they had that, like for Luke, I can hear it. Even maybe for Iron Fist, I can hear it. I'm watching Daredevil fight. I'm sorry. It's like watching Thor and hearing Drake. Like it's just like I just know it doesn't work. Like it's like I'm watching Captain America and I hear Stand by Eminem playing. I'm like, it doesn't feel right. That usage of that song was maybe a little out of left field. So yeah, but otherwise it was a really cool fight scene. I'm sure some people are going to be like, yeah, I love the song choice. Yeah. If they built up to it, I would have understood it, but they didn't. And so I was just like, yeah, it was all right. I mean, maybe it was a good song choice, but again, timing. Like imagining this is why I like orchestras for the Avengers final battle scenes, because I don't think there's a single song ever made in human history that you could throw in the final battles of any of those. It just would not make any sense. So in this, yeah, I'll go off. I'll end that tangent because it's not a huge tangent, because I love this episode. I love the choreography between everyone. I think Luke fights really well. I think Jessica fights really well. We see Danny. I wish Dan. And one thing that I do have a gripe with about Danny's character is he doesn't use the Iron Fist too much, and I wish he would. But Daredevil obviously just does Daredevil things. I always love Matt Murdock's Daredevil and Charlie Cox.
Yeah, his choreography is the best, and it's
always fantastic.
It's gotten better because that episode from last night, Daredevil Born Again season 2, phenomenal choreography, phenomenal, just phenomenal.
And it's cool to see him like
the movements.
Yes.
Like what I noticed about last night, the weapon, like I don't know if you call it a staff or a stick or whatever, they have gotten so good at the way the vocalizes that.
Mm-hmm.
That last night, that was Daredevil. That was nobody but the way he used that to bounce it off though. Oh, that was great. So I would agree. They do Daredevil very well. One of my things with this is some of the battles were in darkness and you really couldn't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't. But
And
that's really my only gripe with.
That's the way all four of these shows are. That's just the stylistic choice of like Daredevil's mainly dark, Jessica Jones is mainly dark, Luke Cage is mainly dark, even Iron Fist is mainly dark. Like that's just it's to create that street level darkness to feel like you're in the alleyway of a fight. And that's kind of what they were aiming for with these shows in this particular fight. And yeah, I do agree if the lighting was in this was bad, but you're also in a cave, so I'm like, you're in an underground cave, and I'm like, where are the lights coming from?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's a fair point. That's a fair point. But of course, you know, the defenders, hey, they end up winning the fight. They're escaping, and Elektra and Matt are fighting, and this was kind of one of those. This last scene right here, it didn't make sense to me, right? Because we know Elektra wants him. Elektra knows she wants. Why are you fighting? Why not? Because if y'all would have just left together, you probably wouldn't have died, Elektra. But no, you want to fight until the last moment, and then you want to say to him, "Oh, Matt, I'm sorry for every." That just felt stupid. I'm sorry. That felt stupid. That to me, that was just. You know that the bomb is about to go off. You know that literally a building is going to fall down on you, and you have .013, some derivative of pi, chances of survival. And you wait to the last minute after you guys are just fighting because it turns you on and you're Elektra and you just like to fight, Matt, but you really love him. And you fight him to the last minute and then you're like, I'm sorry for everything. It's like you really did want to die in his arms, and I just don't get that. But obviously you feel differently. So give me your thoughts on that.
I actually loved it. I love this final fight because we can tell that this isn't Elektra. This is just that killing mentality that she had has overtaken her, and that's no longer Elektra. Elektra died very long ago in Matt's arms. This is basically the Black Sky taking over. This is like black suited Spider-Man. This is like every evil version of your hero ever. And like Matt does not want to fight her. He doesn't, but Elektra knows that and wants to feed into that by fighting him. And until either he dies or she dies, she wants him to basically turn and kill him. And that's just that psychopath mentality that she's at in this current state of hers. And so like he's just like, I don't want to fight you anymore. And there was a part of that that's like, I felt like I didn't care about the relationship at all until this moment, because Matt finally grew past Elektra, because I never understood what he saw in her, and so he finally was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And there was something so heartwarming about that. It's like, Matt, you finally grew up and you finally understand that, like, what you didn't need to be with her. She was very toxic for you. Oh, whether in this current state or in any past state, she was too toxic for you. And you need to move on. And he gave up, and he didn't give up. He just got tired And
You said something there. You said she was too toxic for him, but what I think you're really digging at is that there are some people that you date that you can have the most fun with. I mean, you can have great fun, but they're not good for you.
No.
You become a worse version of yourself. You lose things, you lose opportunities, you lose friends because of this intoxicating relationship that you have with this person that is making you a worse version of yourself. And that happens in real life. That happens. So when you key in on the toxicity of their relationship and the affect that it has on him, I just kind of wanted to highlight that because you said something there, and I wanted our audience to really get it. But anyway, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and I just felt so emotionally invested in this final fight, in that, like, he didn't want to be there, and she wanted him to push to a level. She wanted him to go past his morals. She wanted either go past his morals or her to. I mean, I don't think she was ever going to kill him. I think she just wanted him to go past his morals, and he didn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he just wanted to be at. I mean, if it were up to him, they would have been together somewhere else. But he then realized in that moment that he was never going to get that. And for that was the perfect way to end that arc.
Relationship. Yeah. Yes. And that's true. And they do such a good job with Daredevil. Again, they do such a good job with him because the reverberations of this story continue throughout the Daredevil landscape. And one of them is that she couldn't push him to do that, but Bullseye did when he kills Foggy. I think Charlie Cox was born to play Daredevil. I don't know that there's another actor on earth that could play him, and it comes out in moments, right? Because when he's atop that building after Foggy, and he's listening. Oh, they do such a great job of it. And I know it's a spoiler alert. We haven't got to it, but damn it, I just got to talk about it because I'm in the moment, and the moment said do it. When he shoots Foggy, and they have that fight, and it is a knockdown. It is a great fight. That is a great fight because number one, Bullseye's trying to kill everybody. Like, you talk about a psychopath, that dude's a menace. And he's just killing people, just being creative with throwing things, bouncing them off each other, killing women, men, it doesn't matter. And he gets them to their fight ends up on top of the roof. And while Daredevil is fighting him, he's listening to Foggy's heartbeat. And when Foggy dies, oh my God, Jordan, you can feel it when he says, why? You can feel it. And he's not just talking to Bullseye there. He's talking to himself and he knows what he wants to do. He knows what he's about to do, and he's arguing with himself while arguing with Bullseye, because Bullseye's basically been bludgeoned at this point. He has beat Bullseye silly. And he's in his mind, do I, don't I? And he drops him.
But right before that, Bullseye gives him this, like, with a smile. That's the most psychotic behavior. You just killed this dude's best friend. A dude, and this dude is, like, crying out for his life. And this is like, gotcha, bro. Like, psychotic behavior. Oh my God. And great acting by both Wilson Bethel and Charlie Cox in this moment. Fantastic acting.
That's something the Joker would do.
Yes.
That's absolutely something the Joker would do.
He doesn't even say a word. Neither of them say a word in that moment. He says, Daredevil says one word, why? And then he throws him off. And I'm like, fantastic acting. by both of them. Incredible acting by both of
Let
them.
me tell you something. I was with him throwing his ass off that building because I love me some Foggy, and damn it, he did not have to do that. And F that guy, because when he threw him off, I was like, bro, I'm still hurt behind the fact that they killed. That still hurts me. Even watching that scene, knowing everything that Foggy has meant to Daredevil, it puts a tiny hole in my heart, in my enlarged heart. I'm not gonna lie, Jordan. Like it just, because I rewatched it again last night, which is why it's fresh on my mind. And Jordan, oh my God, that moment as Matt is listening, and you can hear the heartbeat start to slow down, and Karen screams out, and he's like, "What?" And I'm getting goosebumps on my arms now, and you feel it, and then he drops him, and Karen is afraid to look because she doesn't know if it's Daredevil that just fell. That's something that I caught looking at that episode last night. She starts praying, like, please, Jesus. And I'm thinking, she's praying, don't let that be Matt. I just lost Foggy. Don't let that be Matt. What a scene, man. But anyway, we'll get into that. I've given away enough of that first episode. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that as we actually get into that. But the reverberations from the Defenders, they really go throughout the series. They go into season 2 of Luke Cage and Iron Fist and season 3 of Daredevil. I just don't like season 2 and season 3 of Jessica Jones, so I'm not going to reference them. But anyway, call me biased, whatever. I just didn't like them. You know what's funny, Jordan? You know what's funny? Mm-hmm. The most T-Will shit ever. I'll probably watch season 2 of Jessica Jones and be like, you know what, Jordan?
You know what? This was actually a really good show.
Oh, you do that so well. You do. You really do that well. All right. So anyway.
I'm actually going to put this above Spider-Man Homecoming.
Stop it, man. We got to finish.
And I'm going to make fun of you, and you're going to be like, Kim, you're making fun of me.
We got to finish this episode. We won't do that if you keep doing that because I won't stop laughing. Anyway, what the hell am I talking about? Okay, so yeah, all right.
Finale of this.
They get out, right? They get out, and here's the cool thing about it. So, Elektra throws her staff and hits the cable for the elevator that's slowly ascending to the top of the building and cuts one of the cables. And Jessica Jones jumps out of the elevator and catches the cable and holds it up, and we see just how strong she is. Because we get hints and clues of how strong she is, but you gotta really be. Put it this way: if you and I tried to do that, it'd rip our arm off. It would literally rip our arm off. So we see that. Danny looks up and is like, "No way!" And he's like, she says to them, "Crawl, like hurry up, because it's heavy." And then she drops it. They get out. Obviously, Luke and Jessica and Danny tell the cops to show up. Look, a bomb's about to go off. They leave. Now, what I didn't understand is why weren't they prosecuted? Like, they blew up a building. And for all we know, and all that we see, none of the cops really interfaced with the Hand in this show. So, why were they not charged, Jordan?
I mean, Danny's really rich. I can go. That's my explanation. That's the whole, like, when Bruce Wayne's and when in Justice League, when Clark's like, "How'd you get the farm back?" And Bruce is like, "I bought the bank." like that. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right.
Plausible. You could see that.
Yeah.
The FBI was called in on this, bro. You don't just sweep that under the rug.
He bought the building. I don't know.
Yeah.
He bought the land around the building. I don't know.
Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe he
Or
did. That would make sense. Maybe he bought the building. Okay, fair enough. Still crazy.
That's all. That's look. I got nothing.
I'm drawing a blank here. So we have the scene where all of the loved ones of the defenders are in this one room with the cops or at the police station. And we see that Iron Fist returns, obviously, with Kowloon. We see Luke Cage return with Claire. And we see Jessica Jones return to her sister. It's Patsy or whatever her name is. Yeah. And there's this moment where nobody comes walking through the door. And I tell you what, man, silence sometimes can be thunderous. Bless you. You know, we just see the realization of Foggy and Karen, and it's kind of sad, right? It's kind of sad, and it really is, because I'm like, you know, I'm still getting over the death of my mom. So every time I see somebody get impacted like that, it chokes me up a little bit, just because, you know, whatever, maybe I'll get over it one day. I don't know, whatever. But and then they mess with us a little bit. I know this was intentional, but in the next scene we see Iron Fist atop the chapel of the church like he's Daredevil, and I'm like, oh no, they're not gonna do that to us. They are not. No, they're not. They're not gonna make him Daredevil. And then in the next scene, we see Matt in the hospital waking up. We see that he mysteriously found a body of water, and apparently that's what saved him. Although I think that objects can still fall on you in bodies of water, but whatever, we'll go with it. He made it out. He was actually the one person to make it out with a 0.0000000000013 chance of survival. Well, he was that guy because he's Matt Murdock. Why not? And he ends up in the hospital, and it sets up season 3. And it closes with all of the defenders going back to their lives. Give me your thoughts on that, specifically the last scene with Matt Murdock, which really sets up season 3. I think. Go ahead.
Well, I think I actually love not Luke Cage, Iron Fist's arc in that. Yeah. So Daredevil, before they're all leaving, Daredevil whispers something in the Iron Fist's ear. And we don't know what he says until Iron Fist season 2, and he says he ends up saying "protect my city." And
no. Like, he says it in Defenders. He says it when they're out. Yeah, when he's outside and he's talking to Luke and Jessica, he said to protect the city. He knew he wasn't coming back. He said,
well, that either way that ends up being a huge part of Iron Fist season 2, where it feels like he carries his burden of his death with him, in that he wants to be like Daredevil and be that person. And being that Danny is still in that younger mindset, he's trying to do. Like, he never had any sort of figure to look up to, and he finally, and it seemed like he kind of had that with Daredevil.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to honor him, and that's what I liked a lot about season 2. It felt like there was some sort of moral mission in season 2 that I really enjoyed. We see Jessica Jones kind of like, Jessica is even dealing with the fact that like Matt died, and she's like drinking and stuff, but like not in her normal way. And it's to the point that Luke has to go and comfort her. I mean, I think all the characters really had good character arcs. Outside of I don't think Cage had too much of a character arc, because I think by the end of this, he's still sort of in the same mentality. And even when you go into season 2, I don't think there's much that he really grew. Like I think you could watch Luke Cage season 1 and season 2, and it doesn't feel like there's any drop off or any addition to his character. But we do see changes, obviously, in surroundings. We see Misty Knight has obviously is going to have a robotic arm, and we see Iron Fist show up. So, like, I don't think Luke Cage necessarily had a huge character arc. Jessica's finally learning to just be with other people. Daredevil also pretty much the same thing. And then Danny's trying to like understand that his privilege he could help people with. And that's one thing, but with talking with all three of these characters, he realizes like I can help people with the power that I have.
Right.
And that's the one thing that I grew to respect the character by the end of all of these series, a lot more than I did to start. So the one character that grew on me the most was Iron Fist. And I already liked Jessica Jones. I already liked Luke Cage. I already liked Daredevil. I already liked the Punisher. I already liked all these characters. It was Iron Fist that I didn't like at first, but he grew on me. So I mean, we see all these characters growing. Misty Knight's in the hospital with Colleen. Colleen's like, yeah, Danny owns the hospital. And this is a advanced hospital. So we kind of are hinted at her character from the comics being an actual thing. And we end up seeing that more in Luke Cage season 2. But yeah, I think there's a very good ending. And then we see Matt. I don't know if I would have done this. I don't know if I would have shown him. I think I would have cut it off. I think it would have been nice if they just cut it off there and made it think like Daredevil was dead.
I am so glad they did not do that.
I would have personally liked it and I would have liked them to just randomly one day be like, Daredevil season 3 is coming. And look, I ended up watching these well after they had already released, so I didn't have any sort of wait time for them like I did with like the gap between Infinity War and Endgame. Like I remember that. I remember when Infinity War ended, and I was like, all right, I need to figure out when the next movie is going to be. So I didn't have that gap, but I do feel like I would have liked to have seen all of that I would have liked if they cut that out. It would have been very interesting, because then you go into Daredevil season 3 and you're like, what the heck's going on? How do we have a season 3? I thought he was dead. But then we get into season 3, which I think it's probably the most religiously themed episode or season of all of Daredevil. And it is, I mean, you and I talked about it. I don't think we should even say a single word about season 3 because we have so much to talk about when it comes to season 3. So
if you're watching the show, that's for me. So
no. Even me, because I know I will talk about it too. I like you and I both. We both love season 3.
Yeah,
we're both probably gonna have season 3 as the best season of the entire all of Netflix Marvel shows
to that point. To that point.
So we know what happens in season 3, and but I mean, we see him on the bed in the church at the end of this, and we're like, oh, he's alive.
Bro, I would have been batshit crazy. I would have been batshit crazy. If I had to wait, I would have been batshit crazy. I'm glad they did not do that to me. Okay, I disagree with you. Because it was a while. I didn't have to wait for like a year and a half. No, I disagree. I'm sorry. But hey, let me ask you this. Let me see if you caught something, right? So Luke goes to check on Jessica at the bar, right? Do you remember what she said to him as he was walking out of the door?
You want to get a coffee sometime or something like that? Yeah.
What's that mean?
I mean, it's doing a little dance, making a little love, getting down to me. Because from Luke Cage season 1 and Jessica Jones, the whole thing is like Do you want to get coffee is never about coffee. Never.
Right,
It's never
right.
coffee. It doesn't mean coffee.
Right. But I'm
So
like,
doing a little
hold
dance,
up.
making a little love, getting down tonight.
Right. I'm like, hold up. Is Jessica shooting her shot here? Is this what's going on? Is Jessica like, I don't care what you got going on with Claire? Hey, you know, I mean, I missed that the first time. So when she
I got it right away. I
I
do when
missed that the first-
anytime now that anyone says anything about coffee in Marvel, I always think about that. Even in the movies.
bro,
Even in the movies.
I totally missed that because when I'm tell you what happened, man. I'm tell you what happened. So when she says that to him, I went, oh, and Kim's like, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I immediately
She said
reacted
coffee.
like,
She said coffee.
I know what she means. I know
She
what
said
she
the thing.
means. She's shooting her shot, but I was like, I wonder if they're gonna do something with that later on down the line. Because you know, in the comics, they get married, they have kids. So I wonder. I mean, that's at least a bone they're throwing, right? That's at least because I'm like, you know, he's with Claire, and Jessica really. If you think about it, she's kind of being flirty. Okay, let's be real. Jessica's not really flirty with anybody other than Luke that I've seen. Even in the first time when Luke says, yeah, he packs a punch, he packs quite a left hook, and she's like, so do you. The way she says it is like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we're right back at Jessica Jones season 1. It's kind of how I felt for a second, right? But when she does this at the end, when she's like, we should get coffee sometime, I'm like, damn, okay, she's shooting a shot. I didn't catch that the first time, so that was a revelation for me, and I was like, wow. And you know what? I don't think Kim heard that. That was another one, but I definitely was like, oh, I was, because I missed it the first time. Anyway, whatever. Way too much time on that. So let's get to ratings, Jordan. Where am I gonna put this? I've been thinking about this. I still don't know where I'm going to put it because I'm kind of going back and forth with myself.
You have a lot of 8 out of 10s.
I know. I know. I know.
Half your list is going to end up 8 out of 10.
I hope not. But I think I'm going to give this one. Sheesh. I think I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. And it's going to be underneath Daredevil season 1. Above Guardians of the Galaxy volume 2. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. The Defenders. All
Which,
right.
if you're really listening, should let you know what I'm going to give season 3 of He Who Will Not Be Named. But anyway, go ahead. What do you got now? Okay, I know you love this.
Mm-hmm.
I know you love this.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm looking at your side of the ledger,
Mm-hmm.
If you do what I think you're gonna do, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that you're gonna do that. I'm gonna say you're gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. But I don't know. So what do you give it?
All right. I love this. I love this series. Of all the all right. I rewatched Daredevil season 3, I think the most of all the Netflix series outside of The Punisher. The Punisher, I just in general, I love the character so much. I think the combo of character and actor is the best with the Punisher. I think John Bernthal was meant to be the Punisher. And even more, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would disagree, more than Charlie Cox's Daredevil. And I think Charlie Cox is fantastic as Daredevil.
Yeah.
I also think Jessica Jones, even wow, now I'm drawing a blank on her name. The actress who plays Jessica Jones,
Christian Ritter.
Kristen Ritter, yeah. She nails the character, and it's not maybe not comic accurate, but I still think she delivers a performance that is iconic with this character. But I rewatched The Punisher the most, and Daredevil season 3 specifically the most, and then The Defenders. Because there's some times where I just want to see all these characters interact, and that's what I got that with this. Not a single one of these episodes was below an 8 out of 10. The finale I actually gave a 10 out of 10 for. Put that in perspective. Up to this point, of all the shows we've done, this is my first 10 out of 10 episode. I want to put that in perspective. It is very rare for me to give a 10 out of 10 episode to anything.
Indeed.
So, yeah, I love that finale so much. I rewatched that finale a lot. Overall, I had 3 episodes that were 9 or higher. So the majority of the episodes are actually below a 9. So the average score ended up being an 8.5 out of 10.
Yes. Okay.
In comparison, I have it below Iron Man. So those are my only 2 8.5 out of 10. Yeah,
that's where I thought you were.
Yeah. Iron Man is my highest 8.5 out of 10. Regardless of however far we go, is my highest 8.5 out of 10, very close to a 9. But The Defenders, I think The Defenders was great. This was a great starting point for The Defenders. I wish we would have gotten more. I hope in the future we can get more. I think they set up so many different characters to join The Defenders, the Punisher, White Tiger, all that. Yeah. So, yeah, I like The Defenders so much.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm glad I guessed that. I thought you might give it a 9 out of 10, but I wasn't sure. So that was kind of like the trepidation, but that's cool. So tomorrow we obviously have cool. Saturday we have Captain America: Civil War. Man, let me tell you something. Sunday we have Black Panther. No, we have Black Widow first, right? Are we doing both on Sunday? Or are we doing
no, just one?
All right, so then we're doing Black Widow on Sunday, and then Black Panther on that Tuesday. And
yes.
And then Spider-Man Homecoming on that Thursday. And then we go into our regular April schedule, which is The Punisher season 1 on Saturday. And then April we can breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, great overall season of Defenders. Really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to The Punisher. Captain America: Civil War is probably, it's almost a tie between The Winter Soldier and Civil War, because they were both good. They were both great. They were both great. I can't wait. This next onslaught of movies that we have is great, starting with Deadpool, the first one. Oh my God. So
I love that movie.
I can't wait to review that one. That's going to be hilarious. I mean, I think Deadpool probably created his own genre in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think he kind of helped to force the merger, well, not merger, but basically the reacquisition of those characters in the success of Deadpool. Because no disrespect to the X-Men franchise, they were successful, but I don't think anybody on the Fox side has been as successful as Daredevil. You can give me your thoughts, but I'm saying from a box office standpoint, I think I'm sorry, Deadpool, I think, is king of that party. But I don't know. Could be
Yeah,
wrong.
I think on a box office standpoint, it is even over Wolverine. Yeah. I mean, I know that even X-Men Origins Wolverine did well at the box office, but because Logan was R-rated, it ended up not doing like as well as a normal movie would be at the box office. R-rated movies is kind of hard, but that's what made Deadpool and Wolverine such a hard movie. I mean, that ended up being the first movie to hit $1 billion, first R-rated film to ever hit $1 billion. So it hit uncharted territory. And Deadpool 2 made a lot of money. Deadpool 1 made a lot of money. So, I'm pretty sure Deadpool is better at the box office than Wolverine, but it's between the two of them. And if you want to even count Deadpool and Wolverine in the Wolverine genre, then it's between the two of them. Yeah. And I mean, they both go hand in hand because, Wolverine's referenced so much in the Deadpool movies, so much in the first one and the second one, and obviously he's a main character, and he's one of the main characters. He's co-lead in the third one.
He's Wolverine, man. What are you gonna do? Yeah. But hey, man, definitely looking forward to it. To those of you who did watch this, thank you so much. We appreciate you just showing up, and we love talking about Marvel and specifically the MCU, and we're looking forward to many, many more. So again, tomorrow is Deadpool. We will see you then. Jordan, you want to tell these folks where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Ultegacy, ULTGACY. Post all different sports. March Madness is here. The NFL draft is coming up. I'm going to be live streaming all 3 days of the NFL draft. And you can find me. And when it comes to movies and stuff, you can find me here. You can follow me on Instagram or Letterboxd. I'm posting on Instagram whenever I'm seeing new movies. Still trying to figure out what movie. I had someone at work try and convince me of watching Project Hail Mary, but I was leaning towards going to see not Now You See Me. There's another horror movie that came out that's a sequel. I forget what the title is, but I'm debating on two different movies to see. But or you can find me on Letterboxd. All my ratings for all of these are already on my Letterboxd. They're probably going to change maybe a little bit while we're watching these, but and you won't see any of my Daredevil Born Again season 2 ratings until the season is over. And after it's over, then you'll be able to see the Punisher special, which we're going to be reviewing here as well.
I can't wait for that, man. I'm so excited. All right. Well, hey, to everybody who joined us, we appreciate you. We thank you. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to join us, and we appreciate your time and just, you listening to us go on about Marvel, MCU, our favorite characters, a lot of it. We'll see you tomorrow if you choose to join us. And again, thank you for joining us. I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and sending me this guy over here because I really do enjoy doing movies with him. And hey, man, you guys have a great night, and we'll see you Friday. Thanks, everybody.
This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classes, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, they really shine. Behind the